Hello and welcome to this episode of the Limitless Landscapers Podcast. In this episode, I'm talking about the magic bullet that everyone is looking for to miraculously fix their current problems in their landscaping business. So, if this sounds a bit like you, if you're constantly looking for something that's going to magically fix the business wherever it might be failing or struggling right now, then this episode is for you. So, let's go to the show. Welcome to the Limitless Landscapers Podcast, the podcast for owner-led landscaping businesses who want more profit, more control, and ultimately less stress. I'm Paula Warman, the Landscapers Coach, and after scaling a landscaping business to a team of 15, winning 38 industry awards, closing it when overheads became unsustainable, and rebuilding lean and profitable, I've learned this. Turnover doesn't build freedom. Profit, systems, and smart decisions do. And that's exactly what we talk about here on the Limitless Landscapers Podcast, where limitless isn't larger, it's sustainability. Hello guys, welcome. Hope everybody is well and hope you are enjoying the little bit of sunshine and a lot of rain that we've been having down here. Now, today I'm talking about the magic bullet, and it's something I've come across with many people that I've spoken to recently, clients, non-clients, and the like. And it's literally everybody wants this magic bullet that's going to somehow fix their business. Everyone wants the Facebook ad that's going to fill your diary overnight. Everyone wants the CRM system that's going to miraculously fix everything. The marketing agency that's going to solve all your lead generation problems immediately. The salesperson that's going to magically convert every single quote. But the reality is there is no one magical bullet that's going to fix everything. Businesses that are still growing in 2026 and beyond are doing the really, really unexciting, really boring basics. They're doing the boring stuff well. So this is what I wanted to speak to you about today, because I feel like every time I'm speaking to landscapers at the moment, they want more leads, or they think if I just get a new website and upgrade the website, I'm suddenly going to be fully booked. They want a CRM system or a better CRM system than they're using. They want to start running Facebook ads, Google ads, Google My Business. They want to learn and master AI. Now, I'm not saying any of these won't help your business, but the reality is that you probably don't have a lead problem per se. You probably have a consistency problem. So you've probably not been very consistent in your marketing. You probably haven't been very consistent in the way you've been approaching your business. And suddenly we've come to a point where leads may have dried up, or the other extreme is you've got lots and lots of leads, but you are not converting any of them. So the first thing I'm going to tell you to stop doing is chasing low value projects. What I'm consistently seeing myself is that this promise that you're going to suddenly be fully booked, but you then start looking at lower value projects. And I do not believe this is the way forward. I believe that positioning yourself as a higher end landscaper, landscape designer, wherever you're at, you're going to prevent the issue around cost of living and whether people can afford you. Now, I'm not saying you don't have to do low value projects, but I just would not be focusing my time and energy there. I also would really be wary when someone promises you X amount of leads, because then you might go back into the cycle of running around like a headless chicken, literally seeing loads and loads and loads and loads of leads and converting relatively little of them. So it's about getting high quality leads, and it's about following a much more consistent process. So if I asked you what you spent the most time on in the last month, so the last 30 days, what were the activities you spent most of your time on that actually generated revenue in your business? What would that be? Answers on a postcard, please. But essentially what I would focus on, I'd be focusing on my quotes, following up every single quote I've got out there. I would focus on building client relationships. I would be focusing on managing the team better and seeing if we can plug any, monetary waste gaps that might happen in there. And then I'd be looking at my marketing because everything else comes second, in my opinion. And part of that is people believe that more leads are going to suddenly make their business work. So I recently spoke with one of my clients who had 35 open quotes over a period of time. So the problem wasn't actually getting the leads in the door. It was the quality of leads is one issue we need to tackle. But the second thing is sales. The sales conversion is an issue. So this could be anything from around, and this is not my client's experience, but what it could be for you guys is you may be slow on following up, or you may not want to follow up as often as you really should be, particularly in this time that we are in. It might be really slow and painful to follow up. You might not want to, but you have to start doing it. Maybe you haven't even got a sales process in place anyway. Perhaps you've got no urgency around sales because you don't like doing it. You might not even have a nurture sequence. And I'm guilty of this myself. In my landscaping business, there is no nurture sequence. It's me. I do it manually. But that's because I've got a lot smaller business now than I used to have. When I had the bigger business, I absolutely had automated emails going out for everything, follow-ups, preparing people for their appointment, for their site visit, preparing people for their job to start. There was automated nurturing sequences going out all of the time. And a lot of people are still too afraid to ask for the sale. So what you guys, my listeners, should be asking yourself is how many inquiries do I actually get? How many site visits from those do I book in? How many quotes do I issue following that number of site visits? And then how many sales? Most of you will probably not know these numbers, and I would urge you to go and have a look at them because you're going to then look at how you can improve each one. But you can't improve things that you don't measure. So you have to start measuring these numbers so you can see whether you can tweak, improve, and ultimately get better. For instance, if you're looking at sales versus quotes, then you're going to know your conversion rate. And it's really important to know that because essentially then you can work backwards to how many inquiries you need that will actually book in for site visits, that will actually get a quote and that you'll actually convert based on your conversion rate. So these numbers you need to know because what you don't look at, you won't improve and you don't know where you're starting from. So I would go and look at those numbers. If you know them, write them down. If you don't, go find them out, write them down, and that's your starting point. I hate to tell you this, but the magic bullet, the magic solution does not exist. So I talked about the magic of Facebook ads, SEO, AI, CRM systems, new marketing ideas. Maybe you want to hire someone to do it for you. But all of these things are tools. They're just tools to help you get somewhere. They're not going to fix the fundamentals, which is if you've got poor business fundamentals, these tools are not going to fix that. They're going to generate leads, right? They are going to generate leads no matter which way you look at it. But are they going to generate the right leads for you? That's a question. Do you know enough about AI, for instance, to be able to utilize it in the best way possible for your business? Do you know how to utilize a CRM system in your business, or is it just another tool that's going to sit there collecting dust that you don't truly use to its potential in order to help boost your business? The businesses that will win in this current environment and current climate, however you want to call it, aren't doing the revolutionary stuff. They are literally doing the basics better than you guys are if you are struggling. You need to start looking at the basics. Now they are following up. Like I said earlier, people really overlook this quite a lot. Delivering the great work and then talking about it, shouting about it, creating case studies, testimonials, sharing on social, really speaking about what you do best, which is landscaping. Getting those testimonials and reviews from the clients themselves, getting them on Google, this will help your SEO ranking, etc., etc. And it will help you stay visible to clients that are going to come and look for you. And you need to manage your cash flow as well. Cash flow is king. If you've got no cash, you've got no business. But you need to manage it. You need to know that your numbers, and you need to be managing it on a weekly basis, ideally, at the very least, a bi-weekly basis. And if you can't do that, monthly, but ideally, to stay on the pulse of your business, you need to be looking at your cash flow every week, and you need to be looking at follow-ups every week, and you need to be looking for those opportunities to gain really brilliant client testimonials and reviews that you can shout about on every platform you're on, as well as on your website. It's great content and it will really boost your brand. But the real growth in any business, this applies to landscaping as well, is what happens behind the scenes. And this is where a lot of you don't feel you've got the time. Maybe you're being pulled in the business. Maybe you're dealing with team members that take up a lot of your time. Either way, you really need to switch on to working on your business for periods of time, regular periods of time, so that you can get the biggest gains. And things that you could be working on. Now, these all may apply to you, some may not. It's completely based on your business. But what I've just said, cash flow, knowing what's coming in, what's coming out, what's your projected income, what's your profit per job, what's the upcoming costs, where can we shave some money off that if that is an option. You're not checking your bank balance. Well, you need to, and then run it through the cash flow so you can make better decisions as we go forward. It will also show you any gaps you have, and everything else. And if you need some help with cash flow, I do have a cash flow freebie that you can DM me for. So just message me, Paula at thelandscaperscoach.co.uk, and just put the word cash flow and I'll send you the freebie. But essentially, you need to be looking at and being very mindful of your cash flow at all times. Also, looking at your team and your team management. Some people kind of just avoid the team dynamic. So I know I always struggled to get regular team meetings when we had bigger team, because you would inevitably book a team meeting in and you had all the good intentions, you were prepared, you had your meeting notes ready to go, you had questions, you had everything ready to go, but then a job would overrun. So some of the teams would be stuck there. Someone might be off sick. All of these things happen. You think, oh, forget it, I won't do it, I'll book it for next week. And then the same thing happens, something else goes wrong and you have to reschedule. Well, the thing is, then you end up not seeing your team as often as you should. You're not communicating what you need to, and you are certainly not building that team around you that can basically work by themselves without your full, control. But you need to communicate with them regularly so that you can give them clear expectations. You can give them more responsibility. You can monitor their jobs, get them to monitor the jobs, see where they're going right and wrong, get them to help out on the job costing so it doesn't all fall to you. And most importantly, being able to hold them accountable for things that may go wrong or right. But we really need to focus on team management, because essentially, if we could delegate more, we would have more time to be able to work on the business rather than getting sucked right in. And rather than being complete control freaks, learning to relinquish some of that control to the more able team members and getting them to take on more would really help you and also progress your business to the next level. Because ultimately, your business is only as good as you and the team you have around you. So we really need to mentor them and guide them and get them taking on more responsibility, allowing you to step back a bit more and really manage them and their expectations and your expectations of how that should happen. One of the biggest threats to any business is your mindset, because as the owner, you are wearing multiple hats all of the time. And the problem is this can really get into your mindset. So if you haven't got the right mindset, or you keep comparing yourself to others on social media, it can really become a problem. You start to overthink everything and you don't know what the right decision might be. You keep changing direction, so everything's very inconsistent because you're constantly changing. You start to panic and then you start comparing yourselves, and that's where it really starts to go downhill. What true success comes from is sticking to a plan longer than everyone else does. So trusting the process. If you are working with someone and they're working on, I don't know, for instance, your Google ads, you need to be able to trust them and give it time for them to deliver the results. If you're working with a coach like myself, you need to give it time and stick to the plan in order to get the results you are after. It doesn't happen immediately, and what can happen is you get so panicked that you change direction, you go off course, and you divert from the original plan that was set out in the beginning, and then the results do not happen. So it's about sticking to the plan. It's about being consistent, and it's about giving it time. I know it can be boring, but it's about giving it time. And the most important thing I want to say on this podcast is about relationships. Now, people will only buy from you if they know, like, or trust you. This is a fact of life. You won't buy from someone you distrust or dislike. And the fact is, many people still overlook the relationships part of sales and business because we are obsessed with automation. And the reality is, your relationships will still generate the best projects. I have an example for you. So when we started our landscaping business 15 years ago, I spent a lot of time networking. I networked everywhere, like specific trades groups. I also did like just general business, went to events, basically started to become quite well known in the local area and in the industry, and started building relationships. My husband started building relationships with builders that he was introduced to, engineers, architects, all of the above. So we both started just building relationships inside and outside the industry, just to try and generate business for this brand new company we had started. Now, fast forward, I was in a meeting with one of my clients, and they had their HR advisor there. And we were discussing the business and how I've been working with their managers. And he said to me, "You don't remember me, do you? This is the HR guy." And I said, "No, I'm really sorry. What's your name?" He told me his name. And it transpires, he said, "I remember you from networking at BNI." Now, this was almost probably 14 years ago that I met him at BNI, and I was at BNI for a couple of years. And he had remembered me as the landscaping lady, and he remembered who I was. And essentially, he had also put in a good word to his client about me as well. So that worked. Another relationship we built many moons ago, I think probably similar time, 14, 15 years ago, is an engineer that basically my husband was working with on one project. So he had got a landscaping project, they'd got an engineer involved. Mike and the engineer started like talking, a relationship has been built, and since then we get all of their large projects, and we're now working on one of their commercial projects, which is worth, in excess of £70,000. So don't underestimate the value of building relationships and nurturing those relationships over time, because they are the best way to build a sustainable business, in my opinion. Many of your next jobs are going to come from word of mouth. They're going to come from recommendations from your clients. They're going to come from previous clients who want more work done. I get a lot of that. They have their driveway done, they want their garden done. Maybe they want to extend the patio that you laid from 5 years ago, and then, oh, actually, we need repointing done as well. And then we're looking at a driveway, and then our neighbour also wants a quote. It's the relationships you build with those clients as well that are going to serve you going forward. Like I said, making contact with architects, designers, builders. We work with a house builder we've worked with for the last 15 years. He will contact us for any landscaping work he's got going on that he can't do in-house. So that's a constant income of work coming into us that we don't have to work hard for because we built that relationship over time. What about designers that you work with? If you're a landscaper, what about, if you're a designer that offers planting, are you working with landscapers that don't offer that you could do that for them? Are you looking at suppliers and how they could potentially recommend work to you? All of these things, you need to be the business that keeps showing up, that keeps staying front of mind and keeps being the person that they really know, like, and trust. So they're going to gift you the work without you having to do the legwork, without you having to spend thousands or hundreds on Facebook ads. You just need to be able to stay front of mind because many, many, many opportunities come from relationships that have been built years earlier, like I said. And it's not because of a clever funnel. It's because people know, like, and trust you. That is the key, in my opinion, to businesses that are going to thrive going forward. Now, because lead generation is a hot topic at the moment, it's something I'm talking about a lot because it's something that's coming up a lot in the industry. I'm going to share with you 5 ways that I personally would find better quality leads if I was running my landscaping business now. And I am, but mine's very small, so it's a bit of a different beast. Now, I would be reconnecting with my database of previous clients. I would be seeing if I could offer them a maintenance package, whether that's planting or a spring clean, like cleaning their driveways, stuff like that. If you can offer things like that, that's a great upsell. I would also be asking for referrals. If they're happy clients, of course, and I hope all of yours will be happy clients, is asking for the referral recommendation to someone that might be of interest, might be looking at landscaping. I would also be just keeping them updated with you via regular newsletters that may have incentives some months, maybe not, that you can give them some tips and some advice, but essentially it's like a check-in. I would also be following up with any outstanding open quotes that you've never got a decision on, just to find out if they're still thinking about it or whether they've gone elsewhere, so you can get them off your database and stop hassling them, essentially. So that would be my first thing, connecting with your current database, your current clients, and the open quotes that you'll have on there. Then I would be looking at building a referral system. So not hoping that people are going to refer you and recommend you, but building an actual system that asks for them. So at project completion, you ask the question, who do you know that's looking at potentially having their garden or driveway done this year? Do you have anyone in mind? Because actually you can then offer them an incentive to give you those details and maybe offer a gift voucher, a restaurant voucher, garden voucher, money off for the person that decides to get a quote with you. There's lots of different ways you can do that, but the idea is that you actually ask for the referral. A structured referral system will massively outperform paid marketing channels if you do it right and you stick to it and you're consistent with it. Again, consistency is key. I used to do this when I was a sales manager in a gym. And one of the things my sales team hated doing was asking for a referral. Yet it was the most easiest thing. Now, bearing in mind, I was selling gym memberships at £35 a month. It's a very small value item compared to landscaping. And when you were filling in the form at the bottom, there was 2 boxes, referral 1, referral 2. And most people would be too embarrassed to ask, who do you know that would like to come and maybe get a bit more healthier in the gym? I can get them a free 7-day pass. What do you reckon? If you ask like that, they would be like, yeah, absolutely, because there's an incentive. They're more likely to come to the gym if they train with a friend. And I've actually asked for the referral. And the idea is then you would contact that person and be like, hey, thanks. Your friend gave us your details because you're interested in, for you guys, your garden being redone. Is that still the case? Because basically, because they've referred you, I can give you a £50 garden voucher if we come out and quote, or whatever it might be. But yeah, it's as simple as that, but people are too scared to ask for it. Same as people are too scared to ask for the sale. The third thing I would do is optimize your Google My Business profile, because many landscapers, in fact, many businesses underutilize this. And I would be using it like a social media platform where you post regularly, ideally weekly, and you would be sharing things such as before and after photos, your completed projects, getting clients to review you directly on Google, and getting some team photos and information about your business out there. Like I say, it's like a social media channel. It works slightly differently, but when you combine a profile that's optimized with regular reviews, it's known to be one of the strongest local lead generators in the UK. So if you're looking for local leads, which we all are, that would be a place I would spend some time. And it doesn't cost anything. You can do it yourself. It's literally spending a little bit of time on it. The fourth way I would generate high value leads is through strategic partnerships. Like I said, you need to start building relationships with the right, now bearing in mind the right people, the right garden designers that are going to marry really well with your landscaping business, architects, builders, estate agents, property developers, structural engineers, people that get involved with property and that you could share a similar client base with. So like trades, electricians, when I was in BNI, we had a little trade hub, a group of us. It was electrician, me as the landscaper, a builder, an architect, and structural engineer, and a painter and decorator. Now, I use the electrician at my house and I refer him on to people that need him. I have referred the builder, and the lovely painter and decorator, Randy. He has literally painted my house multiple times and I've referred him as well. So it is a well-known fact that when you build your strategic partnerships and you build that relationship, one good referral partner can outperform months and months of advertising. And it's a hell of a lot cheaper. It's literally your time and a coffee or a breakfast or whatever you might do. But it's just keeping that relationship going, building it, nurturing it. And it's not just it's not just take. You do have to give back as well. So that was the whole ethos when I joined BNI, that you brought stuff to the table, you brought referrals to the table, as well as getting them back from others. So it's very much a two-way street. And the fifth thing I would be focusing on for good lead generation is consistent project content. So a lot of the time we go and do a project and we forget to do anything. And I'm not talking about going viral, by the way. I'm talking about just content. So you need to start showing up regularly and you need to start showcasing what you do. So it will be before photos, during the construction photos, the design phase, maybe like the projected vision, the finished results, client testimonials, and utilize them over and over again. The team, what's going on behind the scenes, what's happening with you guys. People buy certainty. So when you're showing them the whole process, it becomes so much easier for them to trust you. And also video outperforms everything else. I hate doing video. You won't see a lot of video on my feeds, but it does. It's the best way. So getting video testimonials, video walkthroughs of your projects. One of my clients, Matt, from Grounds and Greens, he does this really well. He's actually at the moment opening a showroom and he's documenting the whole process, doing lots and lots of videos. He's even been on the radio this week. But it really builds a picture of what he's doing, and it also builds the trust. People becomes, oh, it's a real thing. He's real. This is what he's doing. They see it from start to completion, and they really begin to trust you, which makes it easier to buy from you. So that's it from me today. I've gone on and on. I think I've talked way too much. Apologies if you are bored by now, but essentially it's a really important message because this is something that I'm hearing throughout the industry. So just so we can close this on what I'm getting around to is you don't need a new strategy, right? You don't need a magical bullet or a promise. You need to stick with the plan that you've already got. You need to focus on consistency. You need to follow up your quotes, stay visible, build those relationships, manage your cash flow, and lead your team in the best way possible. Because the landscapers winning in this market are not necessarily the most talented, as you well know, as I well know. They are simply the ones that are doing the right things consistently, while everyone else is getting distracted by the magical bullets that are going to fix their business immediately. So, if you are tired of being busy and not making progress, and you want to build a profitable landscaping business that stops relying on you, maybe you want the new plan. Maybe you haven't even got a plan in place that you need to work to consistently. Please book in a free discovery call with me. It's 20 minutes of your time, 20 minutes of mine, where I can help you as much as possible. And then if you want to work with me, we can discuss that. But the link will be in the show notes so you can do that easily. And please, if you have enjoyed this episode, please share it with another landscaper who absolutely needs to hear this for themselves. So I'll see you on the next episode. It's going to be quicker than you think because this month is all about the podcast. So I will see you on the next episode. Ciao for now.